Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV down here at Ember's headquarters, actually getting early access, getting my very first full in-depth look at one of their all-new touring editions. This is a brand new series from Ember. They are, well, I would say blazing trails, but that's kind of what they've been doing from the start. Anyway, what are we looking at here? So conceptually, this is very different from an Overland. The Touring Edition, as the name kind of implies, is something made a little bit more for towing and going down our nation's more traditional highways, as opposed to the, off-the-grid kind of stuff. Now, they've done a couple things differently here, and sometimes everything's greatest advantage is its greatest liability. Like on the Overland series, that really cool suspension they had literally prevented them from having a floor flush slide, which prevented them from having things like a full dinette, like a theater seat that you could kick your feet up on. Well, this is now running on Goodyear tires, 16-inch Goodyear tires at that, but on a torsion axle and suspension system, which allows them to fully floor flush their slides. So we are finally seeing Embers with things like theater seats and recliners and all kinds of stuff. But in traditional Ember format, Ember doing Ember things, you could say, they're kicking everything up plus one level basically here. Like, instead of just the same theater seat that everyone uses, they're using like a giant extended slide with like a three-seat party sofa. All three sections recline, big center console armrest that comes down. They are changing up their solar and inverter packages, and this is the first place you see it. The absolute base solar and inverter package on this is 400 watts of solar on the roof and a 2,000 watt inverter that inverts the whole house. So you don't have to go through, like a lot of brands this size, they'll pick and choose the outlets. Ember said that sucks eggs. So they bumped it up a notch, you know. There's a bunch of really cool things they're doing here. I can't wait to see the feedback, see what you folks think. This is my very first the new touring series. I'm going to do my best to get them all. Tell me your good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. And if you appreciate how we jump down here and get you that early footage, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rolling. And I kind of wanted to start with this one because I think it's the most easiest springboard from the Overland series that you might already be familiar with on an Ember, moving up here into the Touring Edition. Now, what I like about this is they didn't just slap a new coat of paint on the same old thing. Certainly, there's some similarities, but you know, like when you compare, say, a Reflection and a Solitude from Grand Design, well, yeah, there's some similarities there too. Like, that's just natural. That's going to happen when you're cross-comparing within one family of RVs. But there are some differences that I think really keenly define these. First of all, the fact that these are like 6 foot 10 or 11 inches tall inside. Now, the Overland series vaults upward from the back forward. They're at least 6.5 feet tall, but these are taller all the way through. And where I'm going to really appreciate that, I'm willing to bet, is when we get into the shower. Also, these are running on a different suspension system, which allows for some things to change structurally, which basically allowed them to finally floor flush a slide out. And they're coming out right from the very start with a carpetless floor flush slide that is just all sorts of smexy looking and fantastic. But notice they're using like a bigger sofa. This is not the smallest, lightest, least expensive version of this floor plan that you're ever going to find out there from a manufacturer. Now, speaking of that sofa, I'm going to plop myself right into the middle of it to kind of give you a view in the driver's seat right here. Now, the TV's up, maybe a little high, but I think as soon as you start kicking out the recliner, it's not going to be too bad. That very Ember signature Stargazer skylight is back. You see the kind of Euro shades on a more traditional window, or rather the Euro side, not a traditional window. I'm sorry, I don't even know why I said that. But the again, those day-night kind of European shades there. And look at this, something every single time I release an Ember video, people want to know, why don't they have ovens? Why can't they have ovens? And the Overland series is just not made for that. The Touring series, however, standard with a bigger oven, which I think is very kind of cool. You still got that big 12-volt DC compressor fridge. Bigger models are offering a little bit more in the way of kitchen space and whatnot. Now, kind of like the 201 Overland, you've got a big kind of, anywhere they could possibly put storage, they put storage. Actually, as long as we are talking about that, let's dive into this a little bit deeper, because I got to get moving here. I'm in an active dealer display. I never know who's going to pop in the door. So, dropping down, opening up the cabinets right there, taking a look again. That's a full 3 adult seater sofa. But what's cool about that, you could lounge straight across the thing. All 3 sections reclined. The middle section's a console, like armrest for cup holders, or has power outlets in it. Still a 60 by 80 True Queen bed. Storage all the way around. Now, there's not a ton of storage below it because that is where they hide a lot of their electrical stuff on these. But you can see behind the headboards of the bed, they are still including those handy little side pocket side stands for phones and fans and whatnot. Got that 12-volt TV entertainment system over there, which is kind of a plaza-tainment center. It's a pantry, closet, entertainment, total 1, 2, 3 pack a punch hybrid. The one thing that does make me sad in these, though, is that, as compared to the Overland series, Steve the Stovetop doesn't appear to be making an appearance here. I guess he's going to be exclusive to the Ember, Overland series. You may have noticed by the door, also, the kind of adjustable magnetic holdback, either pantry or, like, tall storage space for, like, brooms and whatnot. Ooh, you see these power outlets. Every single power outlet in every single Touring Edition is inverted because these are actually coming with a 2,000 watt inverter. What's interesting is at the time of this recording, the Touring Edition actually has a bigger standard inverter and bigger standard solar, even as compared to the Overland package. But I would be very shocked if that continued. I would be very surprised if the Overland series didn't also adopt the 400 watt solar and 2,000 watt inverter that you're finding on this. Overall, so far, like I said, same but different. Again, tuned for a little bit bigger, a little bit more space, not quite so small, and not made for really like super duper getting off grid, but maybe some light duty off pavement. What do you think so far? Now, something interesting too I noticed on the way through here. Up above the kitchen area where you might be generating some heat, you've got one of those bigger XL vent fans, which I think is very cool. But as we slide into the bathroom, you find another of those bigger XL vent fans. They're maybe taking some notes from Rockwood there. I'm not sure, but obviously understanding that people do not like the dollar store 4-inch fart fans. We prefer the Fajita Friday fume fighting varieties like you're looking at here. That is a full medicine cabinet, by the way. In the shower, we still have the shower miser system back there to save some water when you are not hooked up to the campsite, facilities and whatnot. And I'm kind of curious, in the Touring Edition, do you think they need the shower miser, or does that belong a little bit more exclusively to the Overland package, or does it matter? Could you do it in both? I don't know. Leave me some feedback. Let me know. And a quick look at the road mode here before I release my my RV hostage. I've been holding this RV hostage for a while. They need to get back to showing it to people. But you see, walk in the door, refrigerator. Walk in the door, bathroom. Bathroom door can open and close unimpeded, and with the slide closed, there is nothing stopping us from getting through this thing. It reminds me of a Queen song. Don't stop me now. I gotta tell you guys, I really am just having a good time. Having a good time. But before we step outside, quick question for you. You got this sweet, longer napping couch over here, which I like that. I like the extra space on that. I like being able to stretch across that thing, maybe set your head in your partner's lap, relax. I don't know. Anyway, maybe have room for yourselves and your dog. I don't know about you, but my dog's small, but man, he can be a bit of a space hog. I love that little guy, but Lord. Anyway, what I'm getting at, before I got distracted, should they include some kind of floating portable picnic table, or is that something you would rather kind of pick out and bring yourself? Do you even need one? Let me know. So first of all, let's talk towing. What's it going to take to get this smoky gray beauty down the road? Well, it still feels like something to me that the realm of a late model tow package half ton should handle generally very fine. Now, if you're in crazy wind country, if you're in severe mountain country, you might want to go 3/4. It just sort of depends. Let's talk construction real quick. We still have an all aluminum composite floor. You have the same walls that you've already learned about on any other Ember. The roof, though, we'll get you up to take a look at that. This does have a more traditional roof structure where we have, vaulted roof trusses, and it does have a 3/8 plywood roof decking just below a PVC roof membrane. So again, something a little more traditional in that respect. Something a little less traditional for Ember, however, is what's going on with this nose profile, along with the different color package, which I think immediately helps kind of differentiate an Overland versus a Touring Edition that we're looking at here. It's got a little bit smoothed out kind of nose sweep. Now, the cool thing about that is it actually created way more front storage capacity room. But if you were eyeballing that real close, you might have noticed this had a traditional tongue coupler hitch. That's actually not what these are going to have long term. Taking a little bit of a look up here, one of the things that you'll get to see is these have a the Versa hitch will still be or Versa coupler, as it were, will still be the thing that you'll find on these, just like the Overlands. This one I'm looking at happens to just be a prototype. But again, that different radius sweep on the front nose created room for all kinds of space in here. And I love what they're doing with that little, the Ahsoka Tano lightsaber light beam in there. Now, if you're noticing over here, they're still hiding a lot of the hardware under the bed, and they are flirting with the idea of offering things like that 270 amp hour Battleborn game changer battery up there. So, by default, you could throw some, wet batteries, lead acid batteries up on the tongue of this thing, but it is kind of built with the concept, the ability, they're flirting with the idea of offering some enhanced solar and lithium action on this, just like they did on the Overland series. I'm kind of conflicted on that. I like, solar, I like lithium, I like all that stuff, but that kind of feels like that's what the Overland does. Is that what the Touring Edition needs to do? I'd love your input on that. Now, this one has a little mini camp kitchen right here. Some people like these. Some people kind of don't. To my knowledge, this is currently intended to be standard. Is that something you would like to see standard or optional? I'd love your input on that. Now, the rumor is Miss Ashley Lehman herself, president, founder, all that stuff of Ember, was out here with the chainsaw herself cutting out some wheel chocks. Now, I've never lost a finger with a chainsaw, but I've also never run one. So, the statistics add up there. Now, Goodyear tires, just like you saw before. These are Goodyear Endurance instead of Wrangler, like on the Overland series. But they are 16-inch tires, like a fifth wheel. They're using these kind of bigger tires on here. That kind of stuff is very interesting, very exciting to me. Now, you notice the entry door is nice and big. They got a big, wide door on this thing. But this back here, this is perhaps one of the most interesting, innovative, awesome safety and towing features I've seen introduce the RV industry in a long time. Because if you didn't know what this thing was, at a glance you look at it, you think it's just another light or something like that. But this little magic box over here, it's literally active radar. It's developed by the same people that made the lane assist and lane warning systems from, I believe, GM. What this is doing is throwing active radar off the back of both sides of your RV. Now, up on the front of the RV, there's a handy little vertical light beam. It just looks pretty cool, but it's more than just decorative. Basically, that will blink out if somebody is in your blind spot so that you know if it's okay to change lanes. Now, I always recommend getting towing extension mirrors and whatnot, but this is another advancement in towing safety that I've never seen anyone else ever do in the world of towable RVs. Very different, very cool, and basically, from just glancing at the rear view mirrors, your side mirrors in your vehicle, you can look over at a glance and see, is the light lit up? Is it not lit up? Is it safe to change lanes? Is it not safe to change lanes? And I haven't personally tested this, but rumors from people who have locally test towed this, like when you're going down the highway and you pass a semi, and you go to flip on your blinker and turn and they flash their light saying, yeah, it's okay, it's clear. Right about the time the semis are flashing their light saying it's clear is right about the time the radar is kicking in. Like, it's dialed in very, very well. I'm very excited about that concept. Now, this still has the turn signal safety lighting package and all that. It just now has, lane protection package. It's cool. Very cool. Besides, what other RV literally lets you say, yeah, I like to throw radar out my butt? And I don't know, personally, I like the differentiation in the color palette, the smoky light gray on the Touring Edition versus the jet black on the Overland series. Not to mention the difference in the shape of the nose. I think it just helps kind of obviously identify one versus the other. Now, in the back here, you've still got a bumper and a receiver hitch. You've got those LCI quick drop stabilizers. What's funny, what they're using for stabilization pads here, these are actually cutaway floor samples of an Overland. That all composite floor. Obviously, the stuff holds up to weight because they're using them as foot pads here. Now, underneath, we have, an enclosed underbelly, radiant barrier package, also holding tank heaters, Embers, still, even in the Touring Edition, 0 to 100 degree tested, rated, and proven. Now, like I said before, they did a different thing with their roof construction on these. The Overland series is basically just a double thick version of their sidewalls. This is the only area in an Ember so far basically to date where it is essentially wood constructed. It's a far more traditional roof structure. You've got a PVC roof membrane, which by the way is fantastic at reflecting the sun's rays to help keep the RV cool. The membrane itself still needs no specific maintenance, but you do have seals up here you will want to maintain seasonally. Also, as you're seeing, this Touring Series standard 400 watts of solar. It's like there's brands out there who are still doing no solar, and they're coming out with more than a lot of brands even offer as an option, as a standard. Now, obviously, this is very similar to the 201 Ember, but it's also very similar to plenty of other things that you might have seen on this channel. If you're kind of curious, you want to cross-compare what else might be out there, first of all, I do still believe there's nothing quite like an Ember out there. They have kind of shucked the traditional method and made their own mold, as it were. But I'll leave you some links in the video description to some other similar floor plans. Maybe you want to cross-compare, see what works best for you, and let me know which one of those is your favorite and why. Until next time, make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you want to see all these new touring editions that are coming out. And take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.